Welcome back for another deep dive with Books on the Mic. We're going to keep going with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We're on chapter 21 now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new here so you don't miss any of our future dives. This book is a classic, and for good reason. It's full of timeless wisdom on achieving success and building wealth.
Yeah, and what really sets this book apart is that it's rooted in decades of research.
Oh, yeah.
Hill spent over 20 years interviewing hundreds of successful people.
Wow.
He was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie himself
No kidding.
to figure out, what were the secrets to their achievements, you know?
It's like we have a blueprint for success right here, drawn from those who've actually done it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Hill doesn't just throw out theories. He gets down to the real nitty-gritty details.
Yeah.
And he starts with the very foundation of achievement, desire.
Right. Hill really argues that desire is that starting point,
Yeah.
It's the spark that ignites the fire of ambition.
It's not just wishing for something. It's like this burning, relentless yearning that pushes you forward. And he illustrates this with the story of Edwin Barnes.
Okay, Edwin Barnes.
Who was so determined to become Edison's business partner.
Wow.
That he literally arrived at Edison's lab with just enough money for a one-way ticket.
Talk about going all in, huh?
Right.
But Barnes didn't just show up hoping for the best, right? He had this unshakable belief that he was going to make it happen. I mean, you got to wonder if that level of certainty played a part in his success.
That's a really good point. Hill really emphasizes this idea of burning all bridges. You know? Fully committing to your desire and leaving no room for doubt or retreat. It's that merchant after the Chicago fire, who amidst all this devastation declared he would build the world's greatest store on that very spot. It's about turning setbacks into fuel.
Yeah. It's like those stories about athletes, Yep. Visualizing their victory before a competition.
But even with that intense desire, you need something more to turn dreams into reality. Right?
Absolutely. You need faith. Hill introduces faith as this essential ingredient that bridges the gap between desire and reality. He calls it the eternal elixir that gives life to thoughts.
Okay.
It allows us to believe in the unseen and act with unwavering conviction.
So it's not just wanting it badly enough. It's about really believing you can achieve it.
Exactly. And this is where the power of autosuggestion comes in.
Autosuggestion, okay.
Hill suggests that, by repeatedly affirming your belief in yourself and your goals, you can actually reprogram your subconscious mind.
Wow.
And literally change your reality.
So it's like you're rewiring your brain for success. But
yeah.
But is there any scientific evidence to support this idea of autosuggestion, or is it just wishful thinking?
There's actually a growing body of research in psychology and neuroscience that supports the idea that our thoughts can influence our actions, even our physical well-being.
Oh, wow.
It's not magic, but it does show the power of the mind-body connection.
That's amazing. It makes you wonder, are we all underestimating the power of our thoughts? Hill even shares a story about his son who overcame deafness.
Yeah.
And he attributes it in part to, his own unwavering faith as a father and just persistently communicating that belief.
Yeah, and it really speaks volumes about the power of belief, not only in ourselves, but in others too. But even with that burning desire and unwavering faith, there will be obstacles. And this is where Hill introduces the role of persistence.
So it's not always smooth sailing.
Definitely not. Hill argues that setbacks and temporary defeats are just part of the journey. The key is to not let them, stop you. He uses the example of R.U. Darby, who, after quitting just 3 feet from gold in a mine, learned a valuable lesson about persistence.
Yeah, it's like life's testing you to see how badly you want it.
Exactly, and it's in those moments of challenge, those moments where persistence is really key. Think back to a time when you faced a major setback in your own life. What kept you going? Was it just, pure willpower? Or maybe a change in perspective, support from others? Hill would argue that quitting is the only true failure and that every obstacle is a chance to grow and learn.
That's a really good point. He also uses the example of Henry Ford, right? Who was told over and over again that building a V8 engine was impossible, but he just kept pushing his engineers until they found a way. It's a reminder that the biggest breakthroughs can come after, a lot of setbacks.
Right. Persistence isn't just about brute force, though. It's about aligning your actions with a clear purpose. Hill makes a distinction between, vague desires, and fleeting wishes. A definite purpose, he says, that acts like a compass, guiding your decisions and even attracting opportunities that match your vision.
So it's like having a roadmap, right? Instead
Mhm.
of just wandering around aimlessly.
Precisely. And to illustrate this, he tells the story of Dr. Gonzalez, who really wanted to build a new college but just didn't have the money. He held onto this desire with such clarity that when the opportunity came up to give a sermon, titled What I Would Do If I Had $1 Million, he was like, this is it. This is my moment. And that sermon actually helped him reach his goal. It shows how powerful a definite purpose can be in attracting resources and opportunities.
That's a great story. It really shows how focused intention can make a difference.
Yeah.
But how do you go from that desire to actually taking action?
Well, Hill says specialized knowledge is crucial for turning a definite purpose into, actual results. He argues that it's not about just knowing a little bit of everything, but about acquiring specific skills and expertise, the kind you need to achieve your particular goal. It reminds me of Henry Ford's libel trial,
Oh, right.
where lawyers tried to portray him as ignorant,
Yeah.
because he didn't have a formal education.
But he had a great comeback.
Uh-huh.
He basically said, I don't need to know everything. I just need to know how to find the right people who do.
Exactly. It's about leveraging other people's expertise. And this is where the mastermind concept comes in. Hill believed that surrounding yourself with a group of like-minded people, each with their own unique skills, could really amplify your own abilities and help you make progress faster.
It's like having your own personal board of advisors, a team of experts who are there to help you succeed.
It goes beyond just getting advice, though. The mastermind, according to Hill, creates this synergistic energy, a kind of collective intelligence that's bigger than just the sum of its parts. He compares it to a group of batteries, generating more power together than they could individually.
I like that analogy. It makes me think of those really high-performing teams you see in, like, sports or business, where the individuals are talented, but the real magic happens when they come together.
Right. Hill really believed in collaboration. He saw the mastermind as a key part of achieving extraordinary results. Think about the people you admire, those who have accomplished great things. Do you think they did it alone? Or did they have a network of support and expertise behind them?
It's hard to imagine anyone achieving true greatness all by themselves. But even with the right team and a clear plan, don't you still need that spark of genius? That creative leap to bridge the gap between the vision and reality.
Absolutely. And that's where Hill brings in the power of imagination. He calls it the workshop of the mind, where all plans and creations take shape. He talks about two kinds of imagination: synthetic, which is rearranging existing ideas, and creative, which is about bringing entirely new concepts to life.
So it's like the difference between, say, rearranging furniture in a room versus designing a whole new building.
Exactly. And Hill believes everyone has the potential for this creative imagination, but it needs to be nurtured and practiced. He even shares a story about an enchanted kettle and a secret recipe for a soft drink. It shows how a simple idea, when combined with imagination and action, can create a lot of wealth.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable thing isn't a physical object, but a powerful idea. But how do you tap into that creative potential? Are you born with it, or can you develop it?
Hill believed that while some people might be naturally inclined to creative thinking, everyone can develop their imagination with practice and effort. He suggests things like visualization, where you imagine your desired outcome in vivid detail, and mental rehearsals, where you mentally walk through the steps of achieving your goal.
It's like those athletes who mentally rehearse their performance before a big game, picturing themselves succeeding even before they step onto the field. But what about those times when fear sets in and threatens to stop us in our tracks? How do we handle that?
Hill was very aware of how crippling fear can be. He identified what he called the 6 ghosts of fear, which he considered the biggest roadblocks to success. These fears, like the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, they can paralyze us if we let them.
He doesn't shy away from those tough topics. He shares some pretty intense stories of people who were just overwhelmed by their fears. But he also offers a powerful solution: making a decision.
Hill believed that indecision is often where fear takes root. By making a firm decision, we can cut through all that doubt and move forward with clarity. He urges us to face each of those 6 fears head on, analyze them, understand where they come from, and then make a conscious choice to overcome them.
So it's about taking back our power from those fears and not letting them control us. But how do you turn that decision into consistent action, especially when there are so many distractions and temptations? Is it all about willpower?
Hill would say it's about self-discipline, That ability to control your thoughts and emotions, to resist those impulsive urges, and stay focused on what you want to achieve. He believed that mastering yourself is essential for lasting success.
It's about becoming the CEO of your own mind,
Yep,
right?
exactly. Hill was a big believer in personal responsibility, emphasizing that we're ultimately in charge of our own destinies. He provides a set of questions for self-analysis, encouraging readers to be honest with themselves about their strengths and weaknesses, to identify areas they can improve, and to actively work towards becoming their best selves.
It's a good reminder that success isn't something that just happens to you. It takes effort, consistent action, and a willingness to keep learning and growing. But with all this emphasis on personal development and achievement, does Hill ever talk about the spiritual side of success? Like finding meaning and purpose beyond just material wealth.
He absolutely does. In fact, Hill believed that true success isn't just about money, but about finding inner harmony and fulfillment. He introduces the concept of the sixth sense, which he describes as this higher level of intuition or inspiration. It's like tapping into a deeper source of wisdom and guidance.
So it's like accessing this hidden well of creativity and insight that goes beyond logic and reason.
He even talks about his own practice of having these imaginary council meetings with great minds like Emerson, Lincoln, and Edison, seeking their guidance and inspiration.
It's fascinating to think about connecting with the wisdom of those who came before us. But even with this focus on the spiritual and intangible, Hill isn't afraid to talk about the more controversial aspects of human nature, is he?
You're talking about his chapter on the mystery of sex transmutation, right? It's definitely a topic that can raise some eyebrows.
It's one of those chapters that's often misunderstood or taken out of context. But if you look at it more broadly, Hill's really talking about harnessing the power of the strong emotions and channeling them towards something constructive.
Exactly. He believed that sexual energy is a powerful force that can be either destructive or creative. It all depends on how it's directed. He uses the example of King Edward VIII, who gave up the throne for love, as a way to show how powerful emotions can drive extraordinary actions, even if they go against what society expects.
It reminds us that sometimes the most fulfilling achievements are the ones that come from passion and a willingness to break the rules. But how do you balance that pursuit of personal fulfillment with the need to contribute to society and make a positive impact?
Hill believed that true success isn't just about personal gain, but about making a real difference in the world. He encourages readers to think about the social impact of their work and to try to create a world where prosperity is shared more fairly. He saw business as a force for good, a way to lift up communities and create opportunities for everyone.
So it's about connecting your personal goals with a bigger purpose, using your success to create a positive ripple effect.
Exactly. Hill was a visionary. He believed in the power of individuals to create a better future for themselves and for future generations. He challenged us to not only dream big, but to act boldly, to use our full potential to make a lasting impact on the world.
Yeah, it's a really powerful way to think about success. Not just for personal gain, but as a way to make a real difference in the world. But how do we take those big ideas and actually apply them to everyday life?
Well, Hill was really practical in his approach. He gave people specific steps and strategies to put these principles into action. He talks a lot about having a definite chief aim, which is basically a clear statement of what you want to achieve. And he suggests writing it down, memorizing it, and repeating it every single day, like it's your personal mantra.
So you're constantly reminding yourself of what you're working towards, keeping those goals front and center.
Exactly. Hill believed that if we focus our thoughts and energy on our goals consistently, we can actually train our subconscious minds to attract the right opportunities and resources to make them happen. But it's not just about setting a goal and crossing your fingers. He also talks about the importance of having a plan, breaking that big goal down into smaller, more manageable steps.
It's like turning that dream into a roadmap, right? You're mapping out the path to get there.
Precisely. And he was very detailed in his recommendations. He encouraged people to do their research, gather information, and find the experts and support they need to succeed. He even gave advice on how to market your own skills, recognizing that a lot of people need to start by using their talents to build a foundation for wealth.
It's recognizing that we all have something to offer, right?
Yeah.
Some skill or talent that we can develop and share with the world.
Exactly. Hill was a big believer in entrepreneurship. He thought everyone had the potential to create their own success. He stressed the importance of building strong relationships, developing leadership qualities, and providing exceptional service. He saw those things as essential for creating a successful and lasting business.
So it's about creating value, not just for yourself, but for others as well.
Absolutely. Hill believed that in the long run, success comes from collaboration, not just competition. He imagined a future where employers and employees worked more like partners, with shared goals and mutual respect. He thought that was the key to building a more just and prosperous society.
It's a really inspiring vision of success, and it seems achievable too. But it requires a change in mindset, doesn't it? We have to be willing to work together and see success as something that can be shared, not just something we hold on to for ourselves.
That's a crucial point. Hill challenges us to go beyond that narrow, selfish definition of success and embrace something bigger, something that includes personal fulfillment, meaningful relationships, and making a positive impact on the world.
It's a powerful message, and it really resonates today. We've covered a lot in our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich. We talked about desire, faith, persistence, the power of having a definite purpose, the importance of specialized knowledge, and the mastermind, the creativity of imagination, the need to overcome fear and develop self-discipline, taking responsibility for ourselves, finding meaning and purpose, and even that idea of sex transmutation.
It's amazing how relevant Hill's ideas still are, even though the book was published almost a century ago.
Think and Grow Rich is more than just a self-help book. It's a deep exploration of what humans can achieve and how important it is to align our actions with our biggest dreams.
It pushes us to think differently about success, to let go of limiting beliefs, and to embrace the possibility of creating a life full of abundance and fulfillment.
It's a call to action, urging us to tap into our own power, to create the life we want, and to leave a positive mark on the world.
It reminds us that success isn't a finish line, it's a journey, a process of continuous growth and evolution.
So to all our listeners out there who are ready to start that journey, I encourage you to revisit Think and Grow Rich and see how you can apply those principles to your own lives.
Remember, you have the power to achieve your dreams.
And here's a final question to ponder. If you could create your own mastermind group, a group of 3 people, living or dead, who would you choose and why? Think about the qualities and expertise you'd want in that group and how their combined wisdom could help you achieve your goals. Until next time, keep reading and keep those minds expanding.